The true biography of Felix Manalo is a gun written and created by your humble servant, Jerry Cahelon. Just call me Tatang JC. Thank you very much. Before I proceed, my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much. Part 14 of the Biography of Felix Manalo is a gun. In the midst and ampleness of happenings creating the schism in the cult and false Iglesia ni Cristo INCorporation of Sir Felix Y. Manalo, the one who tragically affected most was his brethren. Henceforth, Sir Felix immediately ordered his loyal disciples in his administration or directorship to connect all texto or manifestation or sermon being prepared and delivered during worship services with greater and frequent emphasis in molding the minds of the church members or brethren with this kind of thought: that God the Father is always very pleased and honored in excommunicating anyone from his church who disobey his teachings or doctrines, regardless of anyone's loved ones or even those who are the dearly beloved ones by anyone in their lives. And with this serious thought in mind, the whole brethren of Sir Felix Y. Manalo is always the first to suffer from the corruptions and outrageousness of leaders in his administration. Well, because the pain goes down even to the smallest and unmindful members whose loving families were being divided, the parents against each others too, the children against their parents too, and the blood brothers fighting each others just for the sake of keeping the faith on the said crooked teachings and twisted doctrines. The outcome of all this is very hurting indeed, because even the superb or well-seasoned ministers or church makers or emissaries who faithfully serve Sir Felix in his church ever since and for almost 8 years have dropped out. They carried with them a big chunk of his brethren from various localities and provinces, especially those in Bulacan and Nueva Ecija. These disgruntled members were led by Mr. Teofilo D. Ora along with Basilio Santiago and Januario Ponce in this revolt. Eventually and immediately, they founded their own church, the True Church of Christ, Incorporated, or in Filipino, it's translated, Ang Tunay na Iglesia ni Cristo, Incorporated. Meanwhile, inside the Sir Felix Y. Manalo's household, the number of his family members had increased again due to his fond for lust in flesh. This simply means that on December 5, 1922, Madame Ata gave birth to his fourth child, the second son, and was named Salvador G. Manalo. His name was meant to be the Savior per se, from many sorrows, trials, and tribulations surrounding the present life of Sir Felix Y. Manalo he's going through. Subsequently, with his very poor or badly damaged morality at the time, Sir Felix Y. Manalo began promoting his status by proclaiming himself to be the fifth angel of God, being mentioned in the revelations of Apostle John. He also stole the pronouncement of Prophet Isaiah, whereas for him being the bird of prey coming from the far east. In addition to this, he is presenting the founding of his cult church in the Philippines as a prophetic fulfillment in these last days. He also downgraded the divine nature of the Jesus the Christ by introducing him anew, just as an ordinary human being. Therefore, in this manner, he hopes the praises, glories, and attentions may all be redirected instead to himself for being the angel or God's messenger in these last days. In the end, many were made to believe or deceive again by these new and outrageous teachings. Significantly and thereafter, in the beginning of the year 1924, his membership grew bigger again to about 3,000 to 5,000. His Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation, is spread to many provinces and having 43 to 45 local congregations or localities established. In the same year, the first division in his cult and false church, Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation, was established in the province of Pampanga, wherein Mr. Teodoro Santiago was assigned as the administrator. Obviously, due to the serious fund for lust in flesh by Sir Felix, Madame Hata Honorata again gave birth for the fifth time to his third baby son on January 2, 1925. Sir Felix Y. Manalo named him Eraño G. Manalo, which means for him as the new era or the reviving stage in his life. Thereafter, the division of Tarlac was also established in the same year, 1925, and was administrated by Mr. Raimundo Masilungan. Later, in order to greatly embolden his return as a bird of prey per se, he launched the Keeping of Dead Members list of names in active files or official church members registry to maintain the bigger and overall statistical number of membership. This includes the names of those non-affiliated dead relatives of every member in his church and thus far increased the statistical number of members in each locality or locale. In this way, the real membership number had ballooned, bloated, or more than doubled in overall number nationwide to 10,000 members in the cult and false church of Sir Felix Y. Manalo. In the beginning of the year 1926 and succeeding years thereafter, many politicians and political parties began courting his magical or mysterious vote or endorsement. Thus far, Sir Felix Y. Manalo secretly began accepting real estate properties or parcels of land donated per se for the construction of his houses of worship or chapels. These benefits came from the corrupt politicians who won in the elections and thinking they were really elected by the inflated number of voters in the cult church of Sir Felix. One good example to mention is the first political nacionalista party headed by Mr. Manuel L. Quezon, a Freemasonic brother of Sir Felix Y. Manalo, who was elected in the Philippine legislature 1916 to 1935. This was the first group of Filipino legislators formed by the occupying American government in the Philippines. In the said example, Mr. Manuel L. Quezon wrongfully perceived that he was supported by Sir Felix Falls Church, the Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation, because he was elected to the first group of legislators. Mr. Manuel courted and thereby gave many gifts and favors to Sir Felix Y. Manalo based on the wrong presumption that the false church, the Iglesia ni Cristo, INCorporation, promoted or endorsed him with the bloated number of votes, including were the already dead people in many cemeteries, as well as all the insane patients in all the mental institutions and hospice. Sir Felix Y. Manalo secretly began receiving more and huge amount of monies from many wealthy candidates in the Nacionalista Party, the same political party affiliated by then Mr. Sergio Osmeña Sr., Ramon Magsaysay, Carlos P. Garcia, Ferdinand E. Marcos, Father Joseph Estrada, and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. My very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen, and acquaintances, dipping into politics had now become a form of betting game being promoted by the cult and false church of Sir Felix. And why? Well, one of the inherent characteristics of the false and cult Iglesia ni Cristo INCorporation is for being an excellent gambling capitalist, or in Filipino is translated as Bankero sa Sugalan or Cristo ng Sabungan. Nowadays is like the Pogo banker. In the same manner, and wherein Sir Felix Manalo is excellent gambler and banker in cockfighting, almost never had loss, but usually a lucky winner. That is why to the political candidates and parties who were fooled, those who courted and gave him many gifts and won in election, the cult church of Sir Felix was to them being the greatest gift of God and a true blessing from heaven. However, to those candidates and parties who also gave to him and lost, unfortunately, they have chosen to be quiet to avoid destroying their good public image and not exposing their own corruption and evil engagement with the church. Sir Felix Y. Manalo's church administration or directorship was very good in concealing or hiding the accumulated fortunes and treasures from the politicians by showing and converting the true value into a very tiny charitable fraction of donation only. In this mode, the government may have no interest in meddling with it and not needed to tax it too. Obviously, chapels or houses of worship were immediately built on estate properties to attract the public attention and providing proof per se of its overwhelming expansion of the cult or increase in total membership or number of converts to be perceived only as real. In the year 1928, the cult and bogus Iglesia ni Cristo INCorporation was again booming in numbers per se, as noted in the church members registry. Henceforth, the division of Laguna was established under the supervision or administration of a known extravagant minister, Andres Tucker. Then in the year 1930, the division of Nueva Ecija was established under the administration of Mr. Prudencio Vasquez, and the division of Zambales was established in 1931 under the supervision of Mr. Benito Simbilio. This was followed by the establishment of the Division of Bulacan in 1932 under the administration of Mr. Jacinto Torres, and the establishment of the Division of Cavite in the same year under the supervision of Mr. Feliciano Gonzalez. Thereafter, the establishment of the Division of Pangasinan in 1934 under the administration of Mr. Placido Pascua. It was really so shocking to almost everyone, whereas the accounting of balloons or true number of members were seriously bloated. And how then? Because the names of dead members or even the dead relatives of deceased members in faith were resurrected by Sir Felix Y. Manalo by adding them in the registry. Also, he included the numbers of insane people in the mental hospitals or institutions, which made them useful in the society by enlisting their names in his bogus church as voters. He also included in his membership list or registry the names of those incarcerated in prisons, sentenced for life and death. They were able to roam freely and cast votes during election days. In addition, the votes of those who were not born yet were being included already as voters in the registry. Of course, their physical existence cannot be found anywhere yet. The evil consummation of corruption within the church administration or directorship of Sir Felix Y. Manalo, along with blunt politicians, had caused a serious outcome. Some well-seasoned and hard-working church workers, emissaries, and pioneering ministers became jealous and resentful. They eventually desired for world luxury and fame also, or two. And while others established their own churches to enrich them and for depositing their accrued monies and wealth. For this year, 1934, let's get back to the house of Sir Felix Y. Manalo. Whereas for Madame Atta, having many children already, 2 girls and 3 boys, 5 in all, now she became very busy raising and attending their needs. On the other hand, Sir Felix Y. Manalo is now busy preaching and spreading his crooked teachings and twisted doctrines. This involves visiting his brethren in far-flung localities, including, of course, with him, Miss Rosita Trillanes, who used to be his young partner, but now she is of legal age. You may have noticed or realized also, every second year or within a 3-year period, Sir Felix is having a child from Madame Atta or Honorata. This means, therefore, according to some libido experts or reproductive medical professionals, this is called the inherent nature of his design urges or passion in fondling of flesh by Sir Felix Y. Manalo. In other words, it simply means this serious carnal desire or libido and foolish lust in sexual behavior is naturally occurring on him almost every 3 years. However, in the past several years, from 1925 until 1934, Sir Felix Y. Manalo seems to be missing or didn't have this strange carnal lust. It's been 9 years already since the birth of his youngest son, Eraño G. Manalo, meaning he haven't got another child from Madame Atta yet, Did he somehow change passion or lost his carnal urge already? Well, this kind of thought is still absolutely wrong, because there still exists the scared slave or maid within his grasp, who is Miss Rosita Trillanes. Now, sees Sir Felix Y. Manalo's focal interest in his carnal lust, and all the things which shouldn't supposed to happen, all of which still continue to happen again and again. Due to the surpassing beauty and politeness of Miss Rosita Trillanes, it simply cannot be denied that she gained many suitors who wanted to sense her emanating fragrance. And because of this, Sir Felix Y. Manalo became more sickly jealous, extremely domineering, and seriously controlling of her. In later part of the year 1934, Miss Rosita had enough already and decided to end all this by exposing the truth about all the molestations of Sir Felix Y. Manalo on her. She finally revealed all the secrets about this to Mr. Raimundo Masilungan, who is the overseer in the division of Tarlac. He who is her faithful suitor and has her loving and heartfelt interest. The revelations of Miss Rosita Trillanes were witnessed by both Mr. Teodoro Briones and Cirilo Gonzalez. Both were charge makers assigned at the division in Tarlac. Henceforth, the news and talk about this expose began resonating to the entire brethren and even went outside the premise of bogus Iglesia ni Cristo INCorporation. This also went up to the judicial court when Miss Rosita Trillanes brought the case against Sir Felix Y. Manalo for raping her, his immorality and sexual assaults which occurred ever since he was a teenager. Again, Sir Felix Y. Manalo, who is the angel or messenger per se of God, is facing the so-called persecution by the outside world on him or on the true Son of God per se. To my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen and acquaintances, may you please stay tuned for the upcoming Part 15 of the biography of Sir Felix Manalo Isagun in my next presentation on the Internet of the Cyber World. Again, to my very dear brothers and sisters, friends, countrymen and acquaintances, may you please don't forget to like, share my videos, and subscribe also to my YouTube channel so you can easily follow through on my next significant manifestations or testimonies. Thank you very much.